5 habits that changed my life in 1 week. These lessons will change your life. Stoic philosophy. Hey there. Today we're diving into 5 powerful habits from Stoic philosophy that completely transform my life in just 1 week. You know that feeling when everything in life seems off? Like you're running on a hamster wheel but going nowhere. That was me 3 months ago. Living in New York, caught up in the endless hustle, I was doing everything society told me would make me happy. The 6-figure job, the fancy apartment, the constant social media presence. But inside, I felt empty, anxious, lost. Then one rainy Sunday morning, sitting in my favorite coffee shop in Greenwich Village, I stumbled upon the ancient wisdom of Stoicism, and it hit me. I wasn't just tired of my routine, I was tired of living on autopilot. Here's the thing, we're all searching for that magic solution to fix our lives. But what if I told you that real change doesn't require some grand gesture? What if transforming your life was as simple as changing 5 daily habits? And what if you could see results in just 7 days? I know, it sounds too good to be true. I was skeptical too, but these aren't just random habits. They're practical tools, rooted in Stoic philosophy, tested over thousands of years. In this video, I'm going to share exactly how I implemented these habits, the struggles I faced, trust me, there were many, and the surprising ways they changed not just my daily routine, but my entire perspective on life. You'll learn how to reclaim your mornings, even if you're not a morning person. A powerful evening ritual that melts away anxiety. The one habit that literally rewired my relationship with stress. And 2 more game-changing practices that I wish I'd known years ago. The best part? You don't need any special equipment. You don't need to buy anything. All you need is 7 days and an open mind. Before we dive in, I'm curious, how many of you feel like you're stuck in a rut right now? Drop a 7 in the comments if you're feeling overwhelmed, an 8 if you're seeking more purpose, or a 9 if you're ready to make a real change in your life. Let's transform your life, 1 habit at a time. Habit 1. The morning ritual. The Stoic dawn. Do you know what the most successful people throughout history had in common? From Marcus Aurelius to modern CEOs, they all mastered their mornings. But here's what they don't tell you. It's not about waking up early, it's about waking up with purpose. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for?" I used to be the ultimate night owl. 3 months ago, my morning routine was chaos. Multiple snoozed alarms, rushed showers, and breakfast eaten while driving. Sound familiar? But that quote from Marcus Aurelius hit different one day. I realized I wasn't just wasting my mornings, I was wasting my potential. So I decided to try something radical. The Stoic Dawn Protocol. Here's what happened on day 1. 4:55 a.m. My alarm goes off. My first thought? This is insane. My body felt like lead, my mind was foggy. But I remembered Epictetus's words. Difficulties show a person's character. I forced myself out of bed, stumbling to the bathroom. The first 3 days were brutal. I won't sugarcoat it. My body fought against every early wake-up. But by day 4, something shifted. As Seneca said, until we have begun to go without them, we fail to realize how unnecessary many things are. I started noticing things I'd never seen before. The way dawn light painted my apartment walls. The complete silence of the city before it wakes. The clarity of thought that comes with solitude. Here's the crucial part. It's not just about waking up at 5 a.m. It's about creating a sacred morning space. I developed what I call the 3-Mirror-3 protocol. First 3 minutes, don't touch your phone. Instead, take 3 deep breaths and set an intention for the day. This simple act changes your relationship with time. Next 3 minutes, cold water on your face. Not just a splash, really feel the sensation. As Marcus Aurelius taught, the present moment is all we have. Final 3 minutes, write down 3 things. 1 thing you're grateful for. 1 challenge you might face today. one way you can serve others. But here's what nobody tells you about morning routines. They fail when they're too rigid. The Stoics weren't about perfection. They were about progress. Some mornings I still struggle. Some days I wake up at 5:30 instead of 5. That's okay. As Epictetus said, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. The real transformation wasn't in the timing, it was in the intentionality. Starting each day with purpose rather than reaction. Choosing reflection over distraction. Let me share a specific moment that changed everything. One morning, sitting with my coffee, watching the sunrise, I realized I hadn't checked my phone for an hour. No anxiety, no rush, just presence. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just a morning routine, it was a complete reset of my relationship with time. Here's your practical takeaway. Don't start with 5 a.m. Start 15 minutes earlier than your usual wake time. Focus on the ritual, not the clock. Build your own sacred morning space. Remember, your morning begins the night before. Progress over perfection. Consistency over intensity. Intention over duration. You might be wondering, will this really work for me? Well, let me ask you this. What's the cost of another rushed morning? Another day starting in reaction mode? Another missed opportunity for growth? As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, when you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. The Stoic dawn isn't about torturing yourself with early wake-ups. It's about reclaiming the most powerful hours of your day, starting with purpose, intention, and wisdom. Speaking of wisdom, let's move on to our second habit, because as the Stoics knew, a strong mind requires a strong body. Drop it in the comments if you're committed to trying the Stoic dawn tomorrow morning. I'll be right there with you, starting my day with purpose. Remember, the way you start your morning determines the quality of your entire day. Let's transform your dawn, and in doing so, transform your life. Habit 2. Mindful movement. Training like a Stoic. Now, let's talk about the second habit that revolutionized my life. Mindful movement, or as the Stoics would call it, training both body and mind. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. These words from Marcus Aurelius hit me hard one morning as I was scrolling through my phone, slumped on my couch, feeling completely disconnected from my body. You see, like many of us in this digital age, I'd become a master of avoiding physical movement. My body was just a vehicle for carrying my brain from one screen to another. Sound familiar? Marcus Aurelius also wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but rather the fear of never beginning to live." This quote became my wake-up call. I realized I wasn't truly living, I was merely existing. Let me take you back to day one of this transformation. Picture this. 6 a.m., my apartment in Manhattan, and me staring at my workout clothes like they were an alien specimen. I had every excuse ready. I'm too busy. I'm too tired. I'll start tomorrow. But then I remembered Epictetus's wisdom. First, say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. So I started small. Really small, just 20 minutes of mindful movement. No fancy gym, no expensive equipment, just me, my breath, and basic movements. Here's what the Stoics understood that took me years to grasp. Physical training isn't just about building muscle or losing weight. It's about developing mental resilience. Seneca put it perfectly. A good man will make what is best of what is given to him. So I made the best of what I had. Simple bodyweight exercises in my living room. Walking meditation in Central Park. Basic yoga poses on my office floor during lunch breaks. But here's where it gets interesting. By day 3, something unexpected happened. During a particularly challenging set of exercises, when my muscles were screaming to stop, I had this profound realization. Discomfort is not the same as suffering. The Stoics taught that our reaction to physical challenge shapes our mental strength. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. I started seeing each workout as a conversation with myself. When my body said stop, I learned to ask why. When my mind said quit, I learned to say, let's see what happens if we continue. When fatigue set in, I learned to distinguish between real limits and mental barriers. But let me be clear, this isn't about pushing yourself to exhaustion. It's about mindful movement, conscious challenge. As Marcus Aurelius advised, be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. Here's what transformed for me in just 1 week. My energy levels skyrocketed. My anxiety decreased significantly. My sleep improved dramatically. My focus sharpened noticeably. My posture changed completely. But the biggest change? My relationship with discomfort. Think about it. How often do we avoid physical challenge because we're afraid of temporary discomfort? How many opportunities for growth do we miss because we prefer the comfort of inaction? The Stoics understood something crucial. The body is not separate from the mind. Training one inevitably strengthens the other. So, here's my challenge to you. Start with 20 minutes tomorrow morning. No expectations. No judgments. Just mindful movement. Remember what Seneca said. Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Begin where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. The goal isn't transformation overnight. It's tiny improvements day by day. I've shared my story. Now I'd love to hear yours. What's your biggest obstacle when it comes to physical movement? Drop it in the comments below, and let's discuss how we can transform these challenges into opportunities for growth. Remember, your body is the only place you have to live. Treat it with respect, challenge it with purpose, and watch how your mind follows suit. Next up, we'll explore how the third habit, evening reflection, can help you process and integrate these physical changes into lasting transformation. How many of you are ready to start this physical journey tomorrow morning? Drop a 1 in the comments if you're committed to giving it a try. Habit 3. Evening reflection, the Stoic journal. Have you ever noticed how your mind feels like a browser with too many tabs open at the end of the day? Thoughts racing, emotions swirling, and sleep seeming more like a distant dream than a reality. That's exactly where I found myself 3 months ago, lying awake at 2 a.m., wondering why success on the outside felt so empty on the inside. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." But here's what's fascinating. He wrote this as part of his evening reflection, not his morning routine. Let me share something personal. One particularly rough Tuesday evening, after a day where everything seemed to go wrong, a failed presentation, a missed deadline, and an argument with a close friend, I found myself sitting at my desk, feeling overwhelmed. The old me would have reached for my phone, scrolled mindlessly through social media, and tried to numb these feelings. Instead, I remembered something Seneca said. Each night before sleep, we must ask ourselves, what weakness did I overcome today? What bad habit did I resist? What vice have I cured in myself? In what way am I better? So I opened a simple notebook, nothing fancy, just a basic moleskin, and started writing. Not typing on my phone, not using an app, but actually putting pen to paper. The physical act of writing itself became almost meditative. Here's what I discovered about evening journaling that changed everything. First, it's not about documenting your day like a diary. Epictetus taught us it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. So, instead of just writing what happened, I started exploring my reactions. Why did that failed presentation bother me so much? Was it really about the presentation? Or was it about my fear of judgment? Let me share the exact structure I use, developed from Stoic principles. 1. Events and reactions. Write down 3 significant moments from your day and, more importantly, your reactions to them. Don't judge yourself, just observe, like a scientist studying an interesting specimen. 2. Control assessment. This is crucial. For each situation, ask yourself, what was in my control and what wasn't? You'd be surprised how many things we stress about are completely outside our influence. 3. tomorrow's intentions. Not goals, but intentions. As Marcus Aurelius said, let not your mind run on what you lack as much as on what you have already. Set intentions based on what you learn today. One night, about 5 days into this practice, something profound happened. I was writing about a conflict with a colleague and suddenly realized that my anger wasn't really about their actions, it was about my own insecurities. That moment of clarity was worth more than hours of therapy. Now, I know what you're thinking. I barely have energy to brush my teeth at night, let alone write in a journal. Trust me, I had the same thought. But here's the thing, start with just 5 minutes. 5 minutes of honest reflection is worth more than an hour of distracted thinking. Seneca reminds us, while we are postponing, life speeds by. Every evening you spend scrolling through your phone instead of reflecting on your day is a missed opportunity for growth. Here's how to start tonight. Choose a quiet space. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Ask yourself these 3 simple questions. What challenged me today? How did I respond? What would I do differently? The key is consistency, not perfection. Some nights you'll write pages, others just a few lines. Both are equally valuable. As you develop this habit, you'll notice something remarkable. Your days begin to change because your evenings change. You'll start making different choices during the day because you know you'll be reflecting on them later. This evening reflection naturally enhances our morning ritual we discussed earlier. Think of it like bookends, your morning intention and your evening reflection working together to create a more purposeful life. Remember what Epictetus said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." This evening practice is your opportunity to unlearn what isn't serving you and reinforce what is. The power of evening reflection isn't just in the writing, it's in the pause, the breath, the moment of stillness in our chaotic world. It's about creating space between the day you just lived and the sleep that will refresh you. Next time you find yourself reaching for your phone before bed, remember that scroll through social media might distract you, but it won't heal you. Your journal, however, is waiting to help you make sense of your world. Before we move on to our next habit, I'm curious, what's the most challenging part of your day to reflect on? Share in the comments below and let's learn from each other's experiences. Now, as we've learned to reflect on our day, let's talk about how this mindfulness can transform one of our most fundamental daily activities. Habit 4. Conscious consumption, eating like a Stoic. Have you ever caught yourself mindlessly eating an entire bag of chips while scrolling through your phone, or rushing through lunch at your desk barely tasting your food? What if I told you that changing your relationship with food could transform your entire life? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "When you have meat before you, observe this. What is it that is being served? By what kind of death did it come to be here?" Let me take you back to a moment that changed everything for me. It was a typical Wednesday in Manhattan, 1:30 p.m. I was sitting at my desk, inhaling my 3rd takeout lunch that week, eyes glued to my laptop responding to emails, when suddenly I realized I couldn't even remember what I'd just eaten. This moment hit me hard. Here I was spending $20 on lunch and I couldn't even tell you what it tasted like. But it wasn't just about the money or the taste, it was about being completely disconnected from one of life's most fundamental experiences. Seneca tells us, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." This quote perfectly captured my relationship with food. Always rushing, always wanting more, never satisfied. So I decided to experiment with the Stoic approach to eating. Here's what I learned and how you can apply it to your life. First principle, mindful preparation. Epictetus taught, "Every action should be done with full attention." I started by preparing one meal a day completely mindfully. No phone, no TV, no distractions, just me, the ingredients, and the process. You might think this sounds time-consuming, but here's the truth. It actually saved me time. By being present in the preparation, I made fewer mistakes, created less mess, and most importantly, began to appreciate food in a whole new way. Second principle: the power of pause. Before each meal, I practiced what the Stoics called preliminary contemplation. Take 3 deep breaths. Look at your food. Ask yourself, where did this come from? Who grew it? Who transported it? This simple practice transforms every meal into an opportunity for gratitude. Here's a challenging question. When was the last time you actually felt hungry before eating? Not just eating because it was time to eat. The Stoics believed in understanding our true needs versus our wants. Third principle: conscious consumption. I developed a simple framework I call the 3-3-3 method. 3 seconds to observe your food, 3 breaths before starting, 3 chews before swallowing. One day I was having dinner with friends at a busy restaurant in Soho. Instead of joining their rushed pace, I maintained my 3-3-3 practice. Something remarkable happened. Not only did I enjoy my food more, but I naturally ate less and felt more satisfied. Fourth principle: the social aspect. When you are going to eat with another, remember that you are not only nourishing your body, but also taking part in a social act. Marcus Aurelius. This changed how I viewed business lunches and family dinners. They weren't just about sustenance, but about connection, community, and shared experience. Let me share a personal breakthrough. Last month, I had dinner with my father. Instead of our usual distracted conversation, we practiced mindful eating together. It led to the deepest conversation we'd had in years. Fifth principle: the evening review. At the end of each day, ask yourself, did I eat to live today or live to eat? Did my food choices align with my values? What can I improve tomorrow? Remember, this isn't about perfect eating. It's about conscious choices and meaningful connections. Now, here's what surprised me most. This habit didn't just change my eating, it transformed my entire approach to consumption. I became more mindful of spending, relationships, and time. Think about your last meal. Could you describe every flavor, every texture? If not, maybe it's time for a change. The beauty of this practice is its simplicity. You don't need special equipment. You don't need to change what you eat. You just need to change how you eat. Let me leave you with this final thought from Epictetus. Freedom is not achieved by satisfying desire, but by eliminating it. Start small. Choose one meal tomorrow. Give it your full attention. You might be surprised at what you discover about yourself. And speaking of discoveries, as we transition to our final habit, I want you to notice how this mindful approach to eating creates a foundation for something even more transformative. Remember, every meal is an opportunity for presence, an opportunity for gratitude, an opportunity for transformation. How will you approach your next meal differently? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Habit 5. Digital minimalism, modern Stoic discipline. You check your phone 150 times a day. That's 150 times you're pulled away from the present moment. 150 times you're letting the outside world dictate your inner peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Yet here I was, constantly seeking validation through likes, comments, and endless scrolling. Every notification felt like a small dose of dopamine, a quick fix that left me wanting more. Let me take you back to 3 months ago. I was sitting in my Manhattan apartment, surrounded by 3 screens, laptop open to work emails, iPad streaming Netflix, phone buzzing with notifications. Sound familiar? This wasn't just about distraction. It was about disconnection. Disconnection from myself, from real relationships, from the present moment. The ancient Stoics understood something we've forgotten in our digital age. True power lies not in consuming more, but in needing less. Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little that is poor, but the one who hankers after more." Replace things with information, and you have the perfect description of our modern digital anxiety. Here's what changed everything for me. One Sunday, my phone died. Complete blackout, no backup. At first, panic set in, that familiar fear of missing out. But then, something unexpected happened. The world didn't end. In fact, it began to open up in ways I'd forgotten existed. I noticed the smell of coffee from my local cafe. I heard actual birds in Washington Square Park. I had real, uninterrupted conversations. This accidental digital detox became my wake-up call. But I knew going completely offline wasn't the answer. Instead, I needed a sustainable approach. A modern Stoic's guide to digital living. Here's what I discovered works. First, the 1 hour rule. Epictetus taught us, you become what you give your attention to. I set specific 1 hour blocks for social media and email. Not just any hours, but predetermined times when I'm most alert and least emotionally vulnerable. 9 a.m. for emails, 5 p.m. for social media. The rest of the day, those apps are blocked. The result? My anxiety dropped dramatically. Why? Because I was no longer at the mercy of random notifications. I was choosing when to engage, not reacting to every ping and buzz. Second, the sacred spaces. Control your space, control your peace, as Marcus Aurelius might have said. I designated certain areas as completely tech-free. The bedroom, the dining table, my morning meditation spot. These became sanctuaries of presence. You might be thinking, but I need to be available. Do you really? Or is that just a story you've been telling yourself? Most emergencies aren't emergencies at all. They're just other people's poor planning. Here's a practical step. Start with your morning. No phone for the first hour after waking. Instead, do what Stoics did. Reflect, plan, breathe. The world can wait 60 minutes. The third principle, digital purpose. Before opening any app, ask yourself what Epictetus would. What is this for? What purpose does it serve? If you can't answer clearly, don't open it. This isn't about becoming a digital hermit. It's about using technology intentionally, purposefully, like a tool, not a crutch. I remember the moment this really clicked. I was at dinner with friends, everyone staring at their phones. Someone made a joke, and we all laughed. But what were we laughing at? The moment? Or just another shared meme? That night I made a decision. When I'm with people, I'm with people. Phone goes away. Not just face down, away. The quality of my conversations transformed. But here's the real truth about digital minimalism. It's not about the technology. It's about reclaiming your attention, your most precious resource. As Seneca said, life is long enough, and it has been given in sufficiently generous measure to allow the accomplishment of the very greatest things, if the whole of it is well invested. Think about it. What could you accomplish with those 150 moments you spend checking your phone? What relationships could you deepen? What dreams could you pursue? The challenge isn't easy. You'll feel the pull, the urge to check, the FOMO. But remember what Marcus Aurelius taught us. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Start small. 1 tech-free hour. 1 sacred space. 1 purposeful engagement at a time. Your mind will resist. That's normal. That's human. But so is the deep satisfaction of being present, of being in control, of being truly, fully here. Remember, technology should serve you, not enslave you. Your attention is your life. Guard it like the precious resource it is. Looking back now, that broken phone was a gift. It showed me what I'd been missing while trying not to miss anything. So let me ask you, how many times have you checked your phone while watching this video? Be honest with yourself. Then ask, what would your life look like with just a little more presence? The power to change is in your hands. Literally, put down the phone, reclaim your attention, reclaim your life. 1 moment at a time. Conclusion. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want to share a final thought from Marcus Aurelius. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. These 5 Stoic habits we discussed today, they're not just routines. They're gateways to transformation. Like ancient wisdom meeting modern life, creating something powerful, something real. Think about where you were at the beginning of this video, perhaps feeling overwhelmed, searching for answers. Now you have the tools, practical, proven steps that changed my life and can change yours too. Remember, every morning you choose to rise early is a victory. Every mindful movement strengthens not just your body, but your resolve. Every journal entry builds self-awareness. Every conscious meal grounds you in the present. And every moment of digital minimalism, that's you choosing freedom over distraction. You see, the Stoics understood something profound. True change isn't about adding more to your life. It's about stripping away what doesn't serve you until you're left with what truly matters. This is just the beginning of your journey, and I'd love to be part of it. So, here's what I'd like you to do. If this resonated with you, hit that like button. It helps others find this message too. And if you're ready to commit to these habits, drop "stayedy" in the comments below. Share which habit you're starting with tomorrow. Let's build a community of modern Stoics, supporting each other's growth. Subscribe if you want more practical wisdom for modern life. Next week, we're diving deep into Stoic techniques for handling stress and anxiety. You won't want to miss it. Until then, remember what Epictetus taught us. Small actions consistently taken create unstoppable momentum. Your transformation begins now. Not next Monday, not next month, but right here, right now. Take that first step. I'll be here to support you on the journey. Stay strong, stay stoic. See you in the next video.